When a member of your family is in a wheelchair, you may not think taking off on a kayaking adventure together on the Erie Canal is possible, but it is. And we got to join in on the experience with an area mother and son sharing this special moment together for the first time. It happened earlier this week when we joined an adaptive kayaking event led by Rochester Accessible Adventures. Take a look.
Watch his foot, outside foot.
Today is a first for Jeffrey Lane. Don't be mistaken, the adventure seeker has had his share of kayaking over the years. But today, he's in for a new experience. His mom is joining him for the first time.
And then it'll be side to side, and you can watch what he does and do the same side.
And Jeffrey says she's nervous.
Nice and easy. So you're going to paddle on your left side.
I had to convince her quite a bit to come and do it. Just told her that it's not as bad as she thought, and that if I can do it, then she can do it.
In addition to being a little apprehensive about getting out on the water, his mom says she's also a little emotional.
Jeff is my best friend. He's been my best friend for forever, and I couldn't think of a better person to spend any time with. I'm sorry, I'm going to get emotional. It's something that he has done before when he was younger, but we've never been able to do it together.
You don't want to run into anybody.
The mother and son duo are joining other area families and friends participating together in this adaptive kayaking experience. Participating together being the key words.
Because of this man here in Fairport that has set up this place where handicapped people and able-bodied people can go and do things together. It's just amazing.
Tonight's event is being offered through Rochester Accessible Adventures in partnership with the Erie Canal Boat Company and other community partners.
If you'll just sign the two of you in.
RAA's mission is to ensure individuals with disabilities can access active and inclusive sports activities with family and friends.
I love the water, so any chance I can get out into the water is something I'm going to take.
A picture-perfect summer evening, 70-degree weather, and mother and son kayaking together for the first time. These are the things memories are made of. Joining me in the studio to discuss what she's referred to as a revolution in inclusion when it comes to eliminating barriers to active lifestyles for individuals with disabilities and their families is Anita O'Brien, Executive Director of Rochester Accessible Adventures, and welcome to the program.
Thank you.
So Anita, I noticed a theme while observing the different participants earlier this week participating in the Adaptive Kayaking Clinic, and I'm curious if this is something that you hear more often than not, and that is, we're doing this together for the first time. We got to see that in the video piece with Jeffrey and his mother, Lori, and I want to know, how often do you hear that through clinics such as we saw this week and other community events?
A lot, and I'm grateful for you spending that time with us on the canal to see that, because that is what's happening. As people are able to find these outlets that are becoming trained in recreation for and with people with disabilities, the experiences are amazing. And just yesterday we actually had a couple come up with their children from New York City, knowing that they could go to Erie Canal Boat Company to kayak for the first time together as well with their children. And it's something that needs to happen. It's time for it to happen, and we're just happy to be a part of that.
Yeah. You said it's something that needs to happen and time for it to happen. And I want to know, when you, what does it tell you about the state of recreation? I'm talking about people of all abilities to be able to participate in things like this together. What does that tell you when you hear so many people coming together saying, we haven't done this before?
Right. And sadly, people haven't been able to do that before, and recreation is such a part of what we do as family that to give them that opportunity finally to just go do these things, whether it's kayaking or cycling or playing pickleball with your family, it's crucially important that they're able to do that as that family unit, as our core relationships, rather than separating the person with the disability and maybe one parent going to a particular program and the other sitting on the sideline. It really is important that they're able to do these together. It's very formative. Like you said in the intro, it creates those memories, and those memories are pretty powerful for a lifelong active engagement in recreation, and that's what we want. We want that that access to wellness for the lifetime, that access to the social, the physical, emotional benefits that recreation brings. And until we create a community that is able to include people with disabilities, that can't happen. So that's what we're after.
Let's talk a little bit about your backstory, because for 17 years you've been involved in recreation for individuals with disabilities in the Rochester region. How did you get involved in this work?
So this has evolved out of working with the families. And so I would provide programs for individuals with disabilities, and we would have some amazing experiences. They would come back rejuvenated, hopeful, feeling that, okay, this is possible for me to do it. And then I would get the question, so when can I do it again? Or if the person couldn't do it on the Monday nights when I had the program set up, they would say, well, can I come and take one of these cycles out or get this kayaking equipment on a Thursday? And I'd say, I'm sorry, I don't have that. So for me to be able now to say yes, to have them be able to access it whenever the businesses are open, which in this case is 7 days a week for Erie Canal Boat Company, that's a pretty powerful system to be working with. And so this grew naturally out of that I was looking for ways to truly say yes more than I was having to say no.
Right. So talk to me a little bit about the model that Rochester Accessible Adventures offers. And also a little bit, I know you touched upon this, why have we not seen this model before? What has prevented something like this from being developed?
Right, so the model is multi-layered, and I feel that that's extremely important that we approach it that way. We're talking about systemic change in a community, and you need to be able to provide the adaptive equipment, the knowledge of how to use the adaptive equipment, so that the providers of whatever it is are very confident in including people that are going to use that equipment. And that's a crucial piece. People won't come until they know the right equipment is there and that they know that it can be used properly and safely. Another part is that business people may not know individuals with disabilities, and they may not know about specific disabilities and how it might impact a person accessing their particular opportunity. And so we also provide that level of training behind the scenes to a business provider so that they can feel confident if someone tells them, hey, I have a spinal cord injury, or I have Parkinson's disease, or whatever it is, that's fine. That's not a scary thing. It's something that they know they have resources to learn more about, so they can see how that impacts what they're providing. And then a third layer is the outreach. A big part of what RAA does is connecting then the people in the community, people with disabilities, to these new opportunities, and also to providers that work with individuals with disabilities. So those are the three levels that our model works on. And it's very comprehensive networking and training, so that within a community there's a network, there's a solid connection of people being able to access it. It's typically been word of mouth for people to find out about things, and it needs to move faster than that at this point. And so that part of what we're doing is important.
And how do we do that? How do we make it move faster?
So on my part of things is having more inclusion specialists based throughout Monroe County and then throughout the geographic regions around our area to spread it. And those individuals that would be trained in this model that can then create those connections within the community, do those in-service trainings, do these kinds of clinics that we saw in the film there, so that we bring people to the places and introduce them to it.
And level 2, you said, was this really training businesses and getting that business buy-in. Has that been difficult? I know we got to see the Erie Canal Boat Company and full force and what they have available in terms of adaptive equipment. Right. But has it been difficult to get buy-in with businesses who may think or may previously have thought, we can't do this, we don't know how to do this?
Right. Gratefully, now I think there is a shift on a community level that people are more willing to embrace this. Mine is a pretty easy selling point because I can show them definitively that if they will buy into this, that the return on their investment is in numbers, that there are tangible numbers that are showing that their business will increase. If they are providing it in this manner that we're training them, then people will know they can come and participate. And so the numbers at Erie Canal Boat Company have been fantastic. And as we approach new businesses about it, I think they're more welcoming of the idea that, yeah, we really don't see people with disabilities coming here. And the fact is, you asked about barriers earlier, sometimes it's just not knowing what they don't know yet. And they relish the idea of having someone walk them through it. And we don't leave them after they're trained. We stay with them and complete the relationship, continue the relationship by bringing people to their business and doing that outreach with them. And that's an important piece that they need to know is it's not, you know, the ADA is a pretty comprehensive manual. It's all black and white, and it doesn't really help teach that more untangible part of the social dynamic, the culture dynamic. And that's a piece that I think would bring the two together, and they can, we've shown that it is possible to take off with that. So we actually have a working list of entities that we're starting to continue this model with as we spread it. We're beginning to train Victor Recreation Center. We're working with the City of Rochester, our centers, and then we have a number other of dialogues
So
happening.
the plan then is this is not just a Rochester regional thing, this is countywide, then you want to take this statewide as well.
Right.
And I want to kind of go back to something you mentioned. You got a phone call before we close from a family in New York City. They learned about Rochester Accessible Adventures through a magazine, and you told me, like, I got this call and they said, we didn't know that we could do this. Were they heading to Niagara Falls?
Right.
And how do you get calls like that? I mean, because
Right.
of the fact that this is something new that they're getting to see and experience?
Yes, and we're getting the calls and they're saying, can you accommodate me? And it's fun because we can. The answer is yes now, and it's getting that word out to people that they can come do this, and it's very exciting. It's very exciting.
We are out of time for now, but a special thank you to Anita O'Brien of Rochester Accessible Adventures. And you heard Anita, she is eager to help family and friends experience adaptive and inclusive activities, some for the very first time. So learn more. They got a fall campaign coming out. Reach out to Anita and her team online at rochesteraccessibleadventures.org.